Hello everybody and welcome to Phil's Corner Live for the hummel, our regular Thursday show. As we begin, a few of the regulars have pulled up a chair and joined us. We've got Andres in the house, Ian and JPR as well. Good to see you, gents. I just says let's go indeed. Ian says good afternoon, people. Good afternoon to you too, my friend, and JPR as well. Good afternoon. Thanks for those who joined us on Tuesday for the eBay show. That was fun to get back on that. I can tell you now that for those that watched it, I did indeed buy the Liverpool shorts, so those are on their way. Didn't end up going for the Club America. That one, the seller didn't get back with a picture of the label. So again, if you saw the show, you would have seen that. So we didn't go for that in the end, but that was good to be back there. Of course, today we are ranking shirts, and there's some fun ones to talk about. It's been a busy week. I think just last night, Malaga released a really sweet anniversary shirt. This is something which hummel have done for a couple of teams, so that is going to be, I can tell you now, pretty high on the list, pretty high on the wall. The likes of Dortmund got in on some new shirt action. Boca Juniors, my favourite Boca Juniors. So going to be some cool shirts to rank, and we're going to be here for a couple of hours, so it's going to be a chill couple of hours. Hope you can join us for some of this, if not most of it, or all of it. And of course, if you are watching this live, jump in the chat like the guys have already today. Always happy to answer questions. And Stephen says, hey, want to stop by and say hope your day is going well. Thank you to you. Thank you, Stephen, and same to you, I should say. Hope your day is going well too. It's been a good day. It's been a short week for us here. We had the Easter bank holiday on Monday, so can't believe it's already Thursday. But yeah, thank you, Stephen. Things are good. And Andres is in The Hague until the end of the month. Good stuff. Final bit of housekeeping before we get to the new shirts. Many of you will know, but I have a Patreon. And the Patreon is a place where you can support me as a content creator and get a range of benefits. From a shirt as part of your support to entrance in exclusive monthly giveaways. And you'll also be invited to a Slack group where we're chatting regularly. I'm sharing stuff that I see. If I sell shirts from my collection, patrons get first dibs. I also share a lot of my design journey that I'm going through at the moment. So I've been designing various shirts, some for brands, some for just myself, but I share a lot of that process and the behind the scenes kind of design process through the Slack group. So some really cool stuff. Again, at the Patreon, check out the link if that is of interest. But you can also support me at no cost to yourself simply by being a subscriber to this channel and leaving a like and a comment. Those things do really help. And again, whether that's a comment in the chat or a comment on the video itself, and indeed a like, they all help quite a bit. Smudge Sports, good to see you, Smudge. It has been a while. Hello to you, my friend. Yeah, good to see you. Always good to see an old face, a face from streams gone by, or a name I should say, not a face. But anyway, hope you're well. Let me open up our site for today, which is Football Shirt Culture. Shout out to them. This stream, I should probably try and see if I can get sponsored by them, shouldn't I, really, or something. Really like this site. It's pretty comprehensive, and they certainly, well, it's a nice clean site as well. It's not cluttered with ads. There's a few here, but you know, nothing too bad, too obtrusive. Steven says, hey Phil, can I ask a favour? I want you to ask for the 77 Phil's Jaguar jersey. I'd love it for this stream. I will make another note of that and look to wear that soon, Stephen. Yeah, that's a funny one, the old school Jags one. But no, I can definitely look at wearing that for future stream. Although I feel like now I've had a couple of requests for what I'm wearing. Maybe I need to include that in the Patreon kind of perks. requests about wear. Good to see you, Sega. This afternoon all. We're going to start with a banger, guys. This is the Malaga anniversary shirt. Now, this one is essentially much like, if you remember, Real Betis also released a similar kind of retro shirt, which is a close, essentially a remake of an old kit, a classic kit. I believe the original, or the shirt this is inspired by, which is the 1988 Malaga shirt, wasn't actually a Hummel shirt, which is kind of funny. But it did have this kind of wave subliminal pattern, this jacquard. And indeed, Hummel have basically put the chevrons in there. Again, if you think of the Betis away shirt this season, there's some similarities there. But this looks absolutely stunning. I'm just going to say off the bat, this is about as easy a Volcano tier shirt as you get. And the Volcano tier, of course, is our top tier, which not many shirts have entered thus far. Incidentally, off stream, I finally got around to ranking the Basel Carnival shirt, and I really, really like that. So that one wasn't actually placed or ranked on the stream, but I just thought I'd mention that. There's a few others, but nothing close to the top tier that again wasn't shown live. So just a note on that. But anyway, looking at this Malaga shirt, honestly, the only thing I think you could say is that if you look at the pictures of the original shirt, it is very, very similar. But even then, there are some nice touches. So there's a anniversary crest as a jock tag. Massive win for me there. I love the repurposing of that jacquard pattern to have the chevrons. I believe the original had it was almost like a kind of wave look, but it looks great. And having it as an actual pattern in the body as a jacquard makes a ton of difference. It gives, it just looks beautiful. Some people commented on the old sponsor being a bit clunky, but I think that's quite, that is how sponsors were, and in many ways I don't mind that. It has the old crest, I believe with different lettering, but otherwise it's the crest from the 80s. It's a beautiful shirt. I think this is pretty much, give or take, my favourite shirt of the calendar year so far. It looks good. I am, of course, a Hummel fanboy, and I do work a bit with Hummel, so I'm biased, but I will be ranking this one. I think I've got the Basel one there currently kind of in essentially first place. This is going to go number one. It's great. I honestly, this is a 10 out of 10 no notes situation for me. And we do have Hummel here. We will bump them up a little bit, although of course this brand section here is fairly kind of approximated, so don't put too much stock into that. But anyway, Malaga, by far, easy inclusion of the Volcanoes here, and I actually think it probably is my number one shirt release this calendar year. As obvious as it is, as kind of boring as it is, I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I really like the extra touches that they did. That is the first shirt of today. I don't know if we'll be able to top that, but we do have some good shirts to come. So let's see how we get on for the rest of the show. So, because the beauty in the sponsor of the Jeonbuk box works with the throwback. Exactly, that's exactly what I was thinking as well. Only issue me is how close together the crest and Hummel logo are. To be fair, just quickly on that, they are close. That is a fair thing to point out. It's satisfying to me that they do fit inside the white stripes. My internet is slow again, or maybe it's Football Shirt Culture's site, I don't know. Yeah, but overall, big fan. Now we come to Puerto Rico. And they've recently just signed with Hummel. Speaking of Hummel, they have just signed a deal with Puerto Rico. So this is a kind of new set of kits here. And I believe we have home, away and third. So again, we're not ranking goalkeeper kits on the hot wall. Partly just because we want to kind of not clog the list up too much. But we will rank the home, away and third. I assume it's in this order. It must be said the shirts look quite simple. There's nothing too much to say about these 3 kits. Yeah, none of them are standouts. In fact, this shirt, and again, this is I think the home. I think the only thing, if we saw it with long sleeves and the chevrons down the sleeves, I think it would have something about it. Fairly standard, fairly generic. I think that might even be a new crest for the team as well, for the nation. Overall, this is very forgettable, and of course, you know, not everything Hummel does is going to be amazing. This is very, very much in the that's the wrong one there, in the below average camp. Sorry, I do not want to do that. I've just messed up my. There we go. Yeah, so we're gonna. Well, I think this is much more like the lower end of the Canon tier now. This is typically where most shirts will end up, I think, by the end of the season, by the end of the year. In this 3rd tier, you can see quite a lot in the higher end of the Canon tier, but this one definitely feels, well, there's not many shirts in this section, but we'll stick it down there. And of course, being a Hummel shirt, we will move them down a little bit, although let's just do a bit of a there we go, move some brands around. So that is the Puerto Rico home. If we do the away in the 3rd now at first glance this looks like it could be a you know, one of the Denmark 86 templates. It doesn't appear to be that, but I do like the neckline of this, and this is certainly a substantial upgrade over the home. In fact, I would go as far as to say this is probably, for me, towards the mid-upper Canon tier. So again, looking at our 3rd tier, there's actually quite a lot of competition for this area of the tier list. We'll try and capture the crest there. Obviously, these little cuts I'm doing aren't necessarily, you know, true to the shirt design as a whole, but they're more representative, shall we say. Yeah, so I like this one. I would say I actually don't mind it. Yeah, again, in this kind of upper Canon tier. Let's go here. And of course, being a little Hummel shirt, we'll bump them down just slightly. Sega says, how many national teams do Hummel work with? Honestly, I don't think it's many at all. I couldn't actually give you an updated number, but I know over recent years, up to recently, if not still now, they're working with Lithuania. I think they may have moved, I can't remember. And obviously, you've got Denmark, but there's a couple of others I'm pretty sure that I'm forgetting, but it's very much just a small handful. Yeah, I'm sure someone else could confirm or Google that. And then the 3rd shirt, this pattern has some potential. I don't mind it, but it's fair to say the overall design is a little bit underwhelming. Now, what I will say is that, you know, first kits of a new deal typically are a little bit more, you know, understated. It's rare that you see a brand, when they do move to a new team, go all out. It does happen sometimes, but I would always caution some patience there. Although they will likely be bespoke to the team at least. I do like this one a lot more than the home as well, I will say that. But I think I would take the away, the white one, instead of this. So we'll go here, and that will round off the Puerto Rico kits. So nothing too exciting, all in the Canon tier, albeit different kind of levels of the Canon tier. Lefree. Good to see Lefree says on Football Kit Archive, there's only 2 national teams under Hummel for 23-24, Denmark and Puerto Rico. Yeah, I thought there may have been a couple more, but no, that, yeah, doesn't surprise me too much. That's certainly an area where you would like to see Hummel get involved a bit more in, or at least I would. Now here we come to a Palmeiras shirt. This looks to be a essentially like a whiteout version of their stunning home shirt for this year, if you recall. Also, please let me know if my mic, I think my mic's sounding a little bit hot today, but if it is too loud or it's too distorted, please let me know, guys. I know I say this quite a lot, but I've never quite been 100% satisfied with my settings. I think I need to get like a pop shield and maybe tweak some of my kind of audio settings. But anyway, if it is really bad or if it's too quiet even, do just let me know in the chat. Yeah, the home shirt was easily one of my favourites this year, and the away was similarly fantastic. And what I would say with this whiteout version, now I believe this is for charity, or it's it's for a kind of anti-violence campaign, a kind of peace campaign. So certainly a good message, and indeed the shirt looks pretty smart. I think what's great is even just in the full white, you've got all the details of the crest, you've got all the nice embossing as well, so it looks really good. But I think because the away is so similar, essentially it's just the applications which are coloured there in the gold, and then the full colour crest. The kind of the visual impact of this one is certainly less kind of less standout than it would be if the away wasn't what it is. The shirt does look great though, and I think ultimately, with the detail, that's nice, and they have done it in a really good style, again maintaining what makes the home and away shirts so good. But I can't really rank it in the volcano tier, but ultimately if you like the away, I think this one is pretty much there. I would probably rank it slightly lower. I think kind of monotone tonal shirts can look very good, but obviously we've seen so many of them that they're less exciting than they used to be. On the other hand, it is positive to say that it's not just another blackout shirt, although whiteout shirts are kind of going that way anyway, so I think you almost had to put them in the same category. But this is really good, and obviously I might sound like I'm being a little bit harsh on the shirt, but it still looks really nice. And again, it's such a wonderful shirt in terms of details. We're going to stick it here, and that is of course a Puma shirt, so we will bump Puma up a little bit. Mike says, do you think we're going to see any good shirts coming from the new Adidas Newcastle deal? I am expecting a lot of good things given the profile of the deal. Adidas, I think, as well, maybe wanting to kind of bring back a bit of hype around the brand, losing the Germany contract, things like that definitely are putting a few more eyes on them. So I'm expecting big things. I think the potential is absolutely there, and I think they don't have to do too much to get people very excited given the connection. So I'm optimistic. JP says, I managed to get hold of the best special edition shirt earlier this season. The Malaga one seems to be more difficult. Yeah, as far as I know, it does seem to be club members only. On that subject, JPR, if you ever were willing to part with that shirt, I would happily take off your hands, because I regret not picking that one up. That's one which I really wish I had picked up. Not to, force you or, persuade you in any way. But if you're thinking, oh yeah, I would part with that, do just message me or give me a shout out, because again, that's one I regret not picking up, and I haven't been able to find one recently on the secondary market. So if you're willing for a trade or a sale, or you want to talk about that, let me know. But again, no pressure, and I won't force you to agree to anything on stream or anything like that. But yeah, I believe the Malaga one is indeed, or at least when I went to buy it today, it seemed to not let me. It let me add it to the basket, but I couldn't go to checkout. And Mason Francisco concurs. Ian says, talking about Essence Design Classics, Lee's now the dark blue peacock design away over for £20 in their end of season sales. That's a great price. Yeah, guys, don't forget, of course, end of season sales are already going to be starting, and a lot of shirts can be had for great prices. Very few shirts don't make it to the end of season, so it's a good time to be either drawing up a wish list or just keeping an eye out for deals. Of course, you know, whether you're on social media platforms or places like the Slack group that we have for the Patreon, there's a good places as well to keep up to date with stuff like that. Now we come to Vancouver FC. These guys drew a lot of hype with their home shirt, which had this kind of all over eagle pattern, notably on the back. It was a crazy kind of all feather kind of it looked like an elaborate kind of, you know, back tattoo almost. But their away shirt is just as high impact with a cherry blossom theme. Now I don't know too much about Vancouver, but I certainly know that there's been lots of concerts over the year for the likes of DC United. A lot of people, when there was rumours or the leaks of the eventually released DC United cherry blossom inspired kit, they saw some great designs, and the finished kit didn't really live up to it, but this very much is a lot stronger. Mazum says that he likes this one, loves this one in fact, and I agree. Lots of good things to like about it. The pattern itself is one thing. I think the pattern is very nice and it goes on the back, which you guys know is a big tick, but I like that. I think it looks really strong. The petals, the style of the pattern is that nice balance of, it has a kind of abstract look to it, but it's not kind of too realistic. Sometimes patterns like this can kind of fall down for looking a little bit too much like they've just taken a, you know, kind of a photo or whatever and dragged it over. But in combination with the black and white cuffs, somewhat chunky, obviously everything, you know, is matched in terms of the Macron logo, the club crest, the sponsors including Carlsberg on the sleeve there. It's a really, really strong shirt. I think this is, you know, quintessential Flames tier territory, probably not far from the Volcano tier. I think I'm going to put it high in the Flames tier, so I don't think I'm ready to put it in the top tier, but that is overall a really, really strong looking shirt. And Vancouver FC very much putting themselves on the map. Incidentally, we can see the MLS Vancouver side, the Whitecaps here, and I think this one does top it. Yeah, I'll be very happy to put this one as high as kind of here. Well, you know what? Let's go here. Let's go. There's a nice gap there, and this is another great shirt from Macron. So these guys, everyone knows Macron, but this is the latest in a long line of good Macron shirts in 2024, and I really think, again, Vancouver FC have, you know, across their home and away shirts, done a lot of good work. JP says, okay, no worries. I live in northern Spain, so I can look if there's one available. Yeah, if you ever see one, JPR, do let me know, and I'd be happy to snap them one up. Or yeah, if I forget how Vinted works with delivering, with shipping abroad. I know with Vinted Germany they were a bit funny about me ordering to the UK, but perhaps I might ask you to be a proxy as well if there is one on the Spanish Vinted. But anyway, thank you, mate. Sega says feels very hummel this, but with the collar and cuffs. Yeah, I can see that. And Lafree says I'm looking to get a voted Bremen kit from this season. So I'm between the home and third. Any opinions from anyone? Oh, they're both really good. If I had to choose between the two, right, well, let's just, so we got the home, which is the 86 Denmark. The third, which is the kind of dazzle camo. For me, I would probably go for the home, but it's a win-win if ever there was one. The three. Now we come to Club Brugge or Club Brugge and their fourth kit. I believe I saw this one. This was a kind of fan design shirt, or a kind of a young fan designed it, I believe. There were some nice elements. I think the kind of pattern, the triangle pattern, there's a nice playfulness to it. Not as keen on the choice of the neckline and the colour of the neckline. And again, I think if you're already going to go down this route of what is a fairly, kind of unorthodox design, it feels a little bit like I kind of would want the creator of the shirt to be to have one or two more colours, colour pencils in their arsenal, so to speak. I think given that, especially that this is a fourth kit, there's so much more that you could do. It's not just about colours, but I think again, a few more triangles in some different colours, maybe having the triangles, basically the pattern just being a little bit more out there. This one feels like it's not too far removed from just a kind of home shirt at the side. But more than that, really, I'm not a big fan of the neckline style as well, and the colour for the cuffs and the collar. I could kind of take it or leave it. So this is probably a candle t-shirt, but we're not talking lower candle tier. This is kind of here for me. Yeah, something like that, I think, is where I would land. At least on first impressions. Of course, all these rankings, I'm basically ranking it. Many of these shirts I'm seeing for the first time. Sometimes opinions may change over time. So, as we continue, that's Macron again. So, not as good as our some other Macron shirts, including the likes of Basel, again ranked upstream. But we come now to Boca Juniors, and anyone who has been following the channel for a little while, or following me, will know that Boca Juniors are my favourite team in the world when it comes to football shirts. So I do pay extra attention to their releases. Broadly speaking, I think their time with Adidas has been quite productive, quite strong, and this is their new third shirt. Again, I apologise for the speed of this web page loading. I hope it's not my internet dying. I don't think it is. I think it is possibly just football shirt culture being a bit slow there. But we come to their third shirt. Many of you will know the story of the colours, or the current colours of Boca Juniors. The long and short is that Boca played against a team with similar colours, and they lost the game. And so in order to choose a new set of colours, as a kind of almost like a forfeit, if you like, they decided to pick the colours of the first ship that was sailing into the port of Buenos Aires, or the flag of those ships. Of the ship, I should say, and it was a Swedish ship. So the Swedish flag became a key source of inspiration. That's the legend. That's the legend of the Boca Juniors colours. It's one of those fun kind of shirt stories. So to see the Swedish flag inspiring this shirt is great, and of course they've done it a few times over the years, but it's not been an overused theme. I think the overall aesthetics of this one are really strong. It could be a lot better. And I saw, after this was leaked a few months ago, I did see some concepts which were even stronger than the eventual kit. But it does look nice. We've got it in the heat-ready material, heat-ready spec. Great to see the old-school crest on the back. That's a nice touch. A small thing which someone pointed out to me yesterday was that even though this is a betting sponsor, which is a shame, it's actually a Swedish betting company, which is quite funny. Again, given the links, given the story, but I like this one a lot. It's not a Volcano t-shirt for me. It pains me to say that because I would love to stick a Boca shirt all the way up there, but I think this is definitely Flames tier, and certainly the idea for me is great. I'm not sure what it would take, to be fair, to get into the Volcano tier, but certainly the plain back isn't helping. But yeah, I think overall very, very happy to see this idea from Adidas, and I'm happy to stick the Boca shirt as high as here. So we're going pretty high. Let's get all the way down there. Why not? They're a little bit lonely there, but we can add to it later. JP says, Philip, if I see one, I can bring it back to the UK when it's back and send it over. It was a special edition late 80s shirt. Yes, it was. Yeah, the one. Let's just confirm that on stream. What did they call it? Was it special edition? Yeah, it was. Oh, there we go. It was there on. It was this one. That's the one. Yeah. Do let me know, JPR. But thank you again. Appreciate that. Yeah, Lafouche says, to be fair, it's the best sponsor I've seen in the kit. It is honestly not a bad incorporation. Again, we don't, I don't like paying sponsors at all, but it is a good look. I think, yeah, maybe it is the plain back that's hurting this a bit. Honestly, I like the shirt a lot still, despite some of my reservations. So that's why it is all the way up in the Flames tier. And of course, Adidas will get bumped up as a result. Of the Boca kits this year, I like to collect at least one Boca shirt from a season, or at least that's my kind of general aim. I've got a lot of gaps in my collection, but this is probably the one I'll be targeting off the home, away, and third from this year. So that's one, and again, if I can get it, I think they had it in long sleeves, which did look really nice as well. So I need to look at either getting that shipped from Argentina or find someone. They do, to be fair, box shirts are generally available elsewhere as well. So that is one. Yeah, with the sponsor, that's the one, JPR. Sweet. Yeah, as I say, if you see it, let me know. If I can tempt you to part with yours, let me know. But no worries either way. Sega says, such a great story of a kit colour inspiration. Certainly beats my mate. Back home, I can get you some Notts County looking shirts to use. Although I do actually like that with Juve. Yeah, that is. I mean, I love that. I love stories like that in general. And of course, Boca Juniors used to play in black and white, at least for a time. Happy Thursday to you as well, Daredevil. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see a few of us today in the a few regulars and a few new faces. Welcome to Phil's Corner. We're here for the next hour plus, hour and a half. So lots of time to talk about shirts with you guys. Mason says, you think sizing up? Sorry, guys. You think sizing up more size than Macron will be enough? Never had a shirt of Macron. Yeah, so my experience with Macron is typically that they tend to run a little bit tighter, something like half a size compared to kind of UK sizing. So if you're it's, well, for me it's kind of, I would call it like European sizing. That's my typical experience. Of course, brands do change, and I don't have a current Macron shirt in my collection from this season, as far as I know. But I would definitely consider sizing up, unless you don't mind a tighter fit. But then again, worth asking around. If anyone can help in the chat, that's always appreciated. And if you're in the US, again, you would definitely want to size up. US sizing would typically be bigger than European sizing. So actually, it depends on what you're going for. But let's say a large Macron, I would expect to be certainly it would run closer to a something like a medium US, probably. That's a real kind of stab in the dark there. We come to Dortmund. Now this is another special edition shirt, and I've been quite so-so on Dortmund shirts over recent years with Puma, but this is definitely one of the better ones, and there are some nice elements to this. This is of course inspired by the stadium. I think is it like 50 years since the stadium opened, so that's more than enough of an excuse to release a special edition shirt, isn't it, these days? I'm really intrigued by the red numbers. I feel like I have seen this before from a Dortmund kit, but I can't recall a specific design, and I didn't see anything about this actually. There's nothing about red numbers on the press release, or at least from Football Shirt Culture. But I like that a lot. Comes in the box with some stickers. That's cool. The box looks good. The pattern does go on the back, which is good. It is just the same pattern as on the front, but that is a nice touch. And there is an old school crest. Again, these are nice little things which add some quality to the kit. We've got the old Puma logo there with the word mark. So it's a really nice shirt. I do particularly like the shade of gold as well. Obviously, because you've kind of got a tonal pattern, it kind of gives a bit of a kind of effect to the overall look. But I like this very gold shade as opposed to some of the kind of brighter yellows that we've seen, especially with recent Dortmund shirts. So overall, really like it. Like the shirt a lot. I think it would be kind of lower lower flames tier for me, I should say. But definitely, again, compared to a lot of Dortmund Puma shirts, which I've been pretty low on. For example, like this season's home shirt, I wasn't really a fan of, but this is much better than that for me. Stadium patterns like this, I'm often not a huge fan of, but I do like the finished product here. And again, some love for the Puma logo from Daredevil and JPR. I really do like that. Looking at this, I could see this about here. I don't mind that at all. And of course, we are looking at Puma, so let's find them on the board. That's pretty much exactly where Puma are, so we'll leave them there. Daredevil says the Vancouver kit is the better executed Cherry Blossom kit compared to Adidas last year. I agree. I think it is a much better execution on the theme. And Daredevil says you think they would do a multicoloured Puma logo. I feel like they might have already done that, or maybe they haven't. I assume you mean kind of having the word mark in one colour and the cat in another. If they haven't done that, they really should. It'll be a simple but effective way to bring that, bring some freshness to that area of the shirt for sure. So I would love to see that. I like the thinking. Now we come to young boys who have kind of gone down almost the AIK route out of Sweden of kind of having special edition kits. With Nike, it seems to be another team that really lean into that. The gimmick of this one appears to be reflective elements, which, although it's hardly new technology or anything like that, it's not something you often see on a football shirt. So there's a real novelty factor there. It is otherwise essentially a blackout shirt. Nice to see, kind of somewhat chunky applications, and the style of it looks good. You've obviously got the is that the Amnesty International logo? So I'm guessing this is for. This is a kind of charity thing again, which is a thing that a lot of clubs do, so not a bad thing to see. Quite prominent actually on the design. I think this one is quite smart. This is an example. We talk a lot about blackout kits, but it's good to see a blackout kit which has some different ideas in it. Again, though it is a very small element, having the little stripes with the Amnesty International logo. It's good to see that. I'm glad that's in white. It obviously highlights, it draws your attention. It would be silly to have a blackout kit which is helping to support charity and you just hide the logo. So that's strong. And you see a number of blackout shirts which stick so strictly to the blackout theme that they don't really allow any deviation, and the shirt can kind of get lost in the overwhelmingly large pool of blackout shirts in general. And the reflective elements look good. Again, it's kind of a bit of a gimmick, but the shirt looks quite strong there as a kit. This is Flames 2 again. Now I don't think this is the best in the theme. Something like the SK brand shirt from a couple of years ago, which was had the kind of iridescent logos on the blackout theme. I think that was a little bit stronger, although again that was somewhat of, well, not just one trend but two combined in many ways, with both blackout and iridescent which are cool elements. But overall, this one, I think I like it a little bit more than let's have a look. What else have we ranked today? I would probably take it above the Dortmund shirt, but only just. So something like here feels about right. That is of course Nike, so we'll bump that up a little bit. That is the Young Boys kind of special edition charity shirt, pretty solid. I assume they're going to wear it on pitch. Actually, I should have match shirt. So again, we're only making shirts that are going to be worn on the pitch, avoiding lifestyle items for the purposes of the hot wall. So it's strange to have it sponsored blacked out, but the making crest prominent, you don't expect sponsors to be less inclined to go for it. You would actually, but I think that is a positive, certainly. To get sign off is no given from the sponsors, but I like that. Obviously, that I think that as a especially having the Amnesty International logo on the side, having the sponsor blacked out, it allows that, it gives that more of a chance to be seen, whereas if you had the reflective sponsor, it would be another element to distract you. So I think they've got the balance right there. What about Genk? This is another Nike shirt, but this is much less exciting. I don't know if this is a teamwear template or not, but not super excited by this one. It's, again, even if that is bespoke to the team, it's a fairly generic looking pattern. The shirt's completely average, really. I think honestly I'd probably have the little kind of cutouts there in white. It's not to everyone's taste, but I do think this feels like it needs a bit more kind of white around the structure of the kit to help lift this one. I just say nothing special. I agree, I think it is underwhelming. It's not a complete car crash by any means. The sponsors have been recolored well, but this is very much a canal tier, and a lower canal tier shirt at that. And this is the kind of thing often with a brand like Nike, when you're working with hundreds and hundreds of teams, there's a lot which, well, simply because of the level of the deal, or the contracts, that you just don't get obviously all the attention that you get for some of the other teams. So I think this one belongs in this kind of area, back down to earth, sorry, not earth, that's my Essex coming through there, earth, with Nike, but still not doing too bad as a whole. What about Roma? Another big release. Lots of big kits released in the past couple of days. This is the Roma 4th shirt. Now, I believe this is going to be worn in the derby della Capitale. Derby, of course, the Rome derby against fierce rivals Lazio. I believe, I don't know if it was confirmed, but I believe this is the same pattern as the Manchester United Snowflake kind of tribute shirt, the away shirt from recent, from, was it a year ago, 2 years ago? I forget now when it was that United had that. It's fair to say I would say this is certainly a lot less strong of a colourway in that pattern. The Snowflake design had a lot about it, and there was the nostalgia connection. Mason mentions the sponsor as well, and I think that's a fair point. We can think of some other recent Roma shirts which they wore in the derby with the SPQR quote unquote sponsor. Thank you, Dead. It's the same just as well as the collar. This is honestly quite underwhelming. Now, the bar is quite high for Roma shirts, and in a sense, because when Roma shirts hit, they really do hit. The ones which are a little bit more below average as a result, sometimes get a bit more stick, I think, than they really deserve. I do think the shirt is quite strong as a whole. The pattern is on the back, but it's simply not. It's not a standout. It's not something which I would be rushing to pick up as a collector. I think the collar as well. This template is fine, but honestly, it does look a little bit kind of second tier for me. JPL mentions about Leicester and Boca. Yes, it is the same template as that, and I do have that Boca shirt. That I really like that, but again, the template wasn't one of my favourites. Like, you see the way the collar is here, it's simply not my favourite. It's got the old crest, that's nice. I think the colours as well, obviously it's hard to get a handle on the exact colourway. It looks pretty strong there, possibly a little bit more yellow, but either way, I think this one is kind of high candle tier territory when all is said and done. The free says, any club really need a fourth kit? No, is the short answer to that. I think most teams don't even need, well, they don't need third kits. Some teams barely need an away kit, really. Although I think we are certainly in this kind of territory where now fourth kits are essentially the norm. Most big teams have either a special edition or anniversary or a fourth kit, whatever they call it. So this one, I think, again, if we stick it here, I wouldn't mind it. Let's go there for Roma, and this, of course, is a Adidas kit. I had to double check there for some reason. Of course, it's Adidas kit. We will just bump them there, so it's very close between the big three. Although I think largely on the basis of Palmeiras being so good, Puma are higher in my my approximated brand watch. I think on the reuse of the pattern, one thing I would say is that I don't really mind that because the pattern wasn't completely exhausted. If a brand reuses the pattern across teams and even across seasons, I think that's fine, so long as they don't go so overboard that it becomes just completely, well, a bit of a meme basically. And if you think of like Adidas with their Condivo pattern from, was it 2018, I want to say, it was certainly around there, when almost every team seemed to have that. There was, kind of 30, 40 versions of that, and it just kind of got a bit silly. But with this pattern, there's not been many uses of it, so I don't mind that. But ultimately, the colourway doesn't lend itself as strongly to the pattern compared to the United shirt. So yeah, I hear you say, give me the sense for the cop out using the pattern for special kits, but yeah. I think the template did look a lot better for Boca JPR. I did really like that one. The free says, if you make it a fourth kit, you better knock out the park. Indeed, I think ultimately, yeah, you don't want it. A lot of shirts which they look basically like just alternative home shirts, which is often the route fourth kits go down. Certainly not my preferred type of fourth kit. Although I do think the shirt looks nice as a whole. A lot of their teams wear the fan version. Indeed. Warren says, what do you think of the Nigeria's box colour? Ultimately, I'm a fan. I think I do like to see innovation in an area of the kit which has been quite stagnant for so long. But it's certainly jarring. I think it's the kind of thing which, well, I would expect it to be Marmite, of course, or the reaction certainly was quite Marmite. But I like it a lot. What about Bangkok United? Now this is from the brand Ari. I don't believe we've had an Ari shirt. This maybe is in the house, I don't know. Or maybe it is a Thai. Oh, the Thai brand. Okay, so it's like a kind of a mashup shirt. They've been with this brand for 10 years. It has a kind of almost like a racing kind of car, racing flag vibe. Maybe it's just, I don't know, the 7-Eleven sponsor there as well. It's pretty wild, but I do actually think it's got something about it. Looks to be, yeah, kind of simple kind of patch style for the crest. It's a little bit headache inducing. But yeah, the red and black, I'm really getting kind of race car checkerboard vibes. I feel like, yeah, the gradients, it's pretty wild. I mean, certainly when I see this shirt, yeah, Chelsea 2022 home kit vibes, says Daredevil. Yeah, I can see that. This makes me want to go and look at the club's kit history, and ultimately, when you've got a mashup kit, I'd say that was. Oh, sorry guys, I said that was a compliment. I think they've certainly piqued my interest, but it's wild, it's pretty crazy, but and incidentally, this is a fourth kit, so this is a fourth kit on the other end of the spectrum compared to Roma. A lot of fun for Bangkok United. I mean, if you're going to visit Bangkok, this will be a great kind of pickup for you. And the brand Ari, yep, certainly not afraid to push the boat out. Why not, indeed? I think this is a Flames tier, guys. Lower Flames tier. It's pretty crazy. It's certainly not going to win any subtlety awards, but I actually think the more I look at it, I think, yeah, I'd happily. I think I'd happily have that shirt in my collection, which is more than can be said for a lot of shirts that we've ranked. And this is Ari on the board, so a good debut for the Thai brand, who I've never heard of until now. One of the great things about the Hot Ball, guys, is that we're discovering brands, teams, which we would probably never have seen otherwise. So shout out to Football Shirt Culture for doing such a good job documenting so many teams. That is the brand Ari and Bangkok United's fourth kit. A truly wild effort. But I think, again, from the kind of mashup genre, I should say, I like it a lot. Now, what about Selangor from Malaysia? This is their away kit from Huma. I feel like I've probably said their brand name 100 times and I still haven't quite settled on the pronunciation. These guys were real standouts last season. Some of you will remember how highly we rated their shirts, and indeed, a Homer, Joma/Huma, however you say the name, really paid a lot of attention to details, and that's the same here. This shirt looks absolutely brilliant. The colorway, it's hard to kind of fully see what's going on, but it looks really good to me. And the pattern, again, trying to get a good look at it, this kind of gradient pattern ultimately I think looks really strong. The look of the collar and cuffs, some nice kind of different kind of sections there. Ultimately I think this is a real winner. And again, we see some details which I'm not sure exactly whether it is on the kit, if it's like a jock tag or back neck detail, but this is absolutely fantastic. And again, we looked at some Selangor shirts featured very highly last year. This is very much continuing that tradition. I'd go as high as, like, I think we are talking again kind of probably middle of the Flames tier, but really, really fond of this from Selangor and Huma. Feels good to do the accent there, but I may be completely wrong on that again. I hope you guys are not watching this for my pronunciation, because that is it seems to be getting worse and worse as streams go on. Yeah, a really nice shirt, and I think I'll be happy to put this one something like here. That feels about right. Now we need to find Yokohama. Surely this isn't the first one this year. You know what? It actually might be. So, yeah, unless I'm completely blind, which is possible, but I'm looking and I can't see Joma. So, that means they enter the Hot Wall in essentially pretty much joint first place. There we go. The Selangor away kit. Very, very good stuff. Sega says, who's had the best mashup kit? Oh, that's a good question. I would have to come back to you on that. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is the Inter Milan one, which was a reasonable execution, but I feel like there was a better one before that. In terms of one that's strictly speaking a mashup kit, yeah, that one definitely is the one that came to mind first, but it's a good question, Sega. I might be forgetting one. I mean, certainly the shirts like the Basel shirt, which I mentioned at the start of the stream, which have a kind of broadly speaking a mashup aesthetic without being a mashup shirt necessarily. But that one was definitely one of that kind of style, which I really, really liked. But yeah, Inter was one that I enjoyed. What about Belgrano? A lot was said, of course. Well, I said a lot about Belgrano, and we had the documentary not so long ago. This shirt is quite a standard looking shirt from Araya. I'm not a big fan of this template, I must say, this construction. And indeed, the pattern is somewhat. Is it? I'm guessing it's kind of flag based. I'm not too sure. It's definitely not the kind of shirt which I'm rushing to collect. Unlike other Belgrano shirts, even the collar is not really to my taste, and I'm not seeing much in the way of details. So it's definitely, again, not reaching the heights of other Belgrano shirts. The pattern has got on the back, which is good to see, and it's unfair to compare it necessarily to some of the other ones, given how much I did like those Belgrano shirts, which are easily some of my favourites from the modern era. So this is like a canal tier, kind of mid canal tier for me. I do have a lot of love for Belgrano, and I enjoyed getting to know them making the documentary. I don't know how to feel about those thick cuffs. Indeed, they are. Well, they're quite unusual, aren't they? Because it's just the kind of cut out there. It's fine. I mean, from the side, it looks more like a traditional cuff look. Yeah, not one which I think does enough to justify even the higher end of the counter tier. I would put this one in the lower to mid area of our tier list, of the third tier of our tier list. Let's go around here, and that is Araya. So if we find them, there they are. Put them down a couple of places. That is the Belgrano home shirt. Sadly not as good as other Belgrano shirts from recent years, but that's okay. Universalia. Now these guys have featured quite highly on the Hot Wall over the years. And indeed the brand Marathon, a brand who I typically quite enjoy. This Universalia shirt is certainly not one of their better ones. The black camo, it's fine. It's a very kind of literal camo pattern, and it is plain on the back, which is a shame. The 100th anniversary logo is nice, but it is just a very simple transfer. So, if we're being really picky, and hey, that's what this series is all about, that could be so much more. That could be much higher quality. The crest looks good, and again, this is a much better looking crest, but overall I think this one is actually kind of mid to high candle tier rather than much higher. Indeed, when we look at Marathon, yeah, they're okay. So I've not been as high on them this year compared to other recent years. So ranking this, was this the away or the third? Ranking this Universalia third, I think mid candle feels fine. Again, these guys have had, was it last? I want to say it was last year where they had a shirt. It was kind of, I'm pretty sure it was high in the Flames tier. I'd have to go and check to consult the Hot Wall from other recent years to kind of really see. But that is the Universalia third. Marathon. Hoping we see more from them. Puma with a kind of guttural H, with closest to the Spanish J. Thanks, JPR. Oh dear, man. I honestly am relying on the help of my chat to say a lot of names, but Puma, we'll go with that. That's my best attempt. Much appreciated though. Yokohama F Marinos. the J League side, or they might be in the J2. I'm not sure actually which. Oh no, they are in J1. I say J League. I'm not sure exactly which division, but anyway, their special edition shirt. Looking at this one, not too much to say. I mean, the grey look is smart enough, and the pattern's reasonable. I think this may be bespoke. I'm not actually sure. You've got what I believe is an alternate crest there with the ankle and the stars, and the sponsors have been recoloured. It's a nice enough looking shirt. I don't think the colourways excited me too much. My overall impression of this one is that, yeah, I think from a colour perspective, it's not too exciting, but the overall design is nice. And again, I think this is potentially, if it's not bespoke, it's not a pattern I've seen too many times. Although it definitely looks like the kind of pattern that you could see Adidas rolling out across multiple teams, doesn't it? It has a fairly sort of ambiguous look, which you could probably spin a story to say it represents several things. Kind of mid to high counter. Let's go something like there for Yokohama and Adidas. Nudge them down a couple of spots. Nice one, JPR. That is Yokohama. What about Tampa Bay Rowdies and Puma? Tampa Bay Rowdies, famous for their green and yellow home shirts. Again, apologies for the slowness here. I don't know if that's me or football shirt culture. If it is me, if I've dropped or whatever, please let me know. Snake says every time I see the draft on the Yokohama shirts, I think it's placeholder and designers forgot to change the actual sponsor. Yeah, there's definitely that vibe, isn't there? That's good. I'm not going to be able to unsee that now. Now there's quite a nice pattern. Some chevrons there almost. But quite a nice pattern in this one. So even though it looks quite plain at first glance, there is actually, again, quite a lot to the that subliminal pattern. It's not, not particularly visible from some of these shots. But with the kit, it's quite I mean, this is a third kit, so again, this isn't the team's primary look. I'm pretty sure that's a new, looks like a new crest, or maybe I've just not seen the crest for a while. I like this one as a whole, to be honest. Again, it's not something which I noticed at first, but seeing that in the body, I'd expect that to look quite nice up close. I'd actually take that over the Yokohama shirt, for example. Not much, but much higher, but I think that's kind of where I'm landing for Tampa Bay Rowdies. Again, they, I can't remember the latest home shirt, but the home shirts tend to be pretty bold with the green and the yellow. So this would be a nice complement to their typical home shirt. So Tampa Bay, let's go here, and Puma. Again, I've said this before, but with all these big brand names, they're going to have so many kits that I'll be very surprised if we don't see all three of them kind of around here by the end of the year. Simply because that's kind of just the law of averages. They've got so many. Okay, that is kind of April Fool's joke. I don't really know exactly, but we'll skip ahead. We'll go to the Exeter third shirt. This appears to be some sort of vote situation. Of course, many clubs do this now, where they get members to vote on the third shirt. Right, so okay, so 2000 football's the third shirts. I'm just making sure, basically, if these are not the final kits, we won't rank them. Okay, I'm going to skip over this simply because it's not clear to me if these will actually be worn. and we can always come back to it. But let's go Taris, third shirt from the Sportif. Now the Sportif are a brand I wish we saw more of, honestly, in the game. They're a bit like, a brand like, the likes of Mizuno, who have a lot of history, but equally have a lot to offer in the modern game. And I think I kind of was hoping they would have kicked on. There was that time when they were with the likes of Fiorentina and Saint Etienne, and so we're talking kind of 2017, I think it was, around that year. And the Cotswold t-shirts then were absolutely brilliant, some of the best across all teams. They've not really kicked on since then. I think this shirt, if it was in a more attractive colourway, would definitely have more of my attention. As such, it's not really... sorry guys, I'm not a big fan of that base colour. Now this is the third shirt, so I don't actually know. I think, am I right in saying the team's home colours are kind of the blue and the white? But yeah, in terms of the kind of application of the shirt or the quality of the shirt, somewhat average to below average, kind of material wise. The Coq Sportif logo looks solid as the kind of plastic, but yeah, I think honestly the colourway is not really one I'm enjoying. You'd probably want, again, the sponsor breaking up the stripe as well. You probably wouldn't want that, sorry I should say, for it to really be considered for the higher tiers. So this one has the look of a third tier shirt for me, of a candle tier shirt, kind of, mid high. It's again, I like elements of this one, but it's not got enough for me to consider it in the higher tiers. So yeah, I like it around there. And that is the Coq Sportif, a brand who... Is that another? Oh no, we do have them here. I was going to say, I thought we would have had at least a couple, and indeed they are there. I do like a lot of the Coq Sportif kits though, so I would I'd hope we see a few more this year that get ranked a bit higher. And certainly a brand which I would like to see more of in the game. Give me Norway vibes. Just way more simple. Yeah, indeed. I hear you, Daredevil. I really like Norway's kit, which is why it's in the Volcano tier. Definitely some vibes there. Now, of course, we're not ranking Puma shirts, but we'll just check if I had any new kits. No, so we continue. Oh, man. Hit a tiredness wall. Oh, sorry, that wasn't too loud. So I apologise for yawning continually for the past half hour, but I'm genuinely streaming. I don't know how people stream all day, and they've got to have some serious stamina. Maybe they're eating the right things or drinking the right things. But honestly, after for me, 20 minutes in, half an hour, I'm already starting to yawn. And by this point, I'm already it's like kicking into sort of, my reserve energy levels. And that's no indictment on your company, guys. But I must say, I am knackered. Anyway, we come to Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors, their Pioneer Legacy shirt. Okay, so references 30th anniversary of the club. They began as the Jeonbuk Dinos. That is fantastic. And that explains the logo. So firstly, amazing crest. I love that. That is brilliant. The design is somewhat basic. And there are some nice touches like 30 years. That looks good, but it's quite small on the kit. It's a shame that wasn't kind of, more prominent, I think. The colourway, which I think I'm right in saying is the team's standard colourway, is quite nice. They call it the Neutro kit as well, which is quite funny. I like that. Kind of like the reverse retro thing that Adidas and NHL have. Sega saying very green bay looking. Yeah, if that was a bit more yellow, because it looks a bit more almost like a lime green to me there, but maybe that's just the colorway. But yeah, certainly the kind of green and gold look. I actually think this one is pretty fun. I would probably still keep this in the candle tier, but things like the old crest, I'm a sucker for this kind of nostalgia, and I do think there are some nice elements to this one. I don't think it's the best Adidas template or kind of construction we've seen. It's one of my least favourite ones, even though the colourway is quite fun. And again, some of those retro touches, the 30th anniversary or 30-year details also look pretty good. So this isn't too far away from the Flames tier for me. But I'm not going to get carried away. I would stick it around here. Well, actually, let's go here for Jeonbuk. And this was an Adidas kit. We'll knock them down a few paces. Champion says for that England training shirt you passed has a bit of an interesting pattern. Reminds me of early 90s Fiorentina. Oh dear. Yes, in short, not as egregious as the Fiorentina shirt. And though I do believe it was an accident, the Germany number 4 incident, which I shared on Twitter recently, of course, again was perhaps a bit more unfortunate as well. But yeah, certainly, well, I'm sure someone could stir up a lot of anger if they were to talk about that one a bit more. What about Malmo's away shirt? And I say Malmo, I don't know how you pronounce the umlaut there. Is that what they call it, the umlaut? We're going to call it Malmo anyway, because again, I don't want to spend too much time talking about pronunciation. What have we got here? Bit of a double pinstripe look. Not too sure on the colours of this one. You can see here, Malmo, of course, typically have a kind of light blue. Light blue and white are the darker ones, so let's have a look at that quickly. Let's have a look at that. Right, okay, yeah. I think that's the same pattern, isn't it? But yeah. I certainly hear what you're saying. JPR. Yeah, honestly, the pinstripes, I quite like the overall look of it. There's a bit of a flag detail on the back. The back is plain, but it's not the worst. Worst example, and the VW sponsor, though it is used for several teams, has a nice clean look to it. In a world of, well, some pretty ugly sponsors, it's one of the less offensive ones. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the clash of the blue on the crest is slightly putting me off, and this is again a very small point, a very minor point. And I'd like to see, there's a very subtle pattern. I'd like to see on that on the back rather than it being plain, but actually I'm kind of warming to this one the more I look at it. Another one, like a few today, where the colours aren't quite standing out to me, but actually as a shirt as a whole, I think this is definitely high candle tier. Yeah, I think honestly almost just having the double colour pinstripes even by itself is certainly enough of a positive for me compared to just having the single pinstripes. That I'm really glad to see that. It's a very small thing, but it, you know, is a point of difference compared to if they'd just gone with a single pinstripe, which I think wouldn't have stood out as more. Having that little bit of red I think does help quite a lot. So that is Malmo and Puma. Let's move them down there. The Malmo away shirt. Double pinstripes for the win, says Daredevil. Indeed. I like it too. Swansea's fourth kit. Now we're back with Homer. Of course. This is is, I believe, a reference to an old shirt, a match winner shirt indeed, the fantastic old brand match winner. Has the look of a kind of like a Denmark 92 kind of design. I think that's the design I'm thinking of. Obviously there's been others as well which have had broadly similar aesthetics. The old golf sponsor as well is quite good fun. So this is, you know, a bit of kind of nostalgia bait. We talked about that before on the channel. You've got the old crest. You know, it's a bit of a shameless plug, but it's hard to argue that the shirt doesn't look good. Like, I think that looks, honestly, like really strong. That sleeve pattern looks great, and even though it is very much reminiscent of some other brands, and of course it's, you know, referencing the old shirt, I do like it. I think this one is probably in the flames tier, to be honest. And yes, it is somewhat obvious, and I think it's fair to say that, yeah, when you see these shirts, which are very clear references to old kits, sometimes you could argue it's a bit too easy. And it's funny seeing brands, you know, we looked at Hummel at the top of the show, and Roma now, where they are essentially copying other brands' work. There's something to be said about that, and how that is sometimes a bit too, you know, you've got to, ideally you're looking for points of difference or ways to develop an old idea rather than just a simple remake. But ultimately I think this looks really good, and I'm kind of debating where to put it. I don't really hate it there. So we will of course move Homer down now, but I'd like it a lot. Daredevil mentions the collar. I also like the collar, and that appears to be different to the original, but I do like that. I think it's, you know, it's a strong look. I'd be tempted to see kind of other versions, maybe kind of almost even thicker lines, perhaps not as thick as the sleeves, but I'd be interested to see other versions. But I do like it. I do like it as a whole, and that is really, really solid from Swansea. I'm going to take a very short break, grab a drink, and then we will get back for the final segment of today. But don't get anywhere. See you very soon. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for bearing with me. Let's get back to the hot wall. Now we come to some Puma kits. Now this, of course, is an opportunity to talk about Puma more generally. So this is great. We'll go through these kits one by one. We've also got Nigeria. I forget if we actually ranked Nigeria. We did already do Nigeria. And the box collar, which you mentioned in the other, mentioned earlier in the show. But let's talk about Puma briefly. An underwhelming collection from Puma, it must be said. Given that this is, you know, a major brand for, you know, ahead of a major tournament, this is not Puma at their best. Puma, and I said this on Twitter, they're at their best when they are pushing the boat out. They're, you know, of the big three, Nike, Adidas and Puma, they have been probably the most disruptive of the three in terms of pushing things forward. And even recently with the third kits, for all the hate they've received, it certainly was something, you know, for an area, well, essentially football shirts, have followed a similar base format for so long. The mixing it up, I think, was largely positive for the industry. Look at this. This is like a worse version of what Adidas were doing, although it is quite similar. But I'm honestly not really feeling this template. This looks like kind of barbed wire. I honestly think this is really poor. And even the collars, all these styles look very dated now. I mean, the choice of kind of maroon with the red is at least something. It's not, it's not completely standard, but ultimately I think this is quite ugly. I think this is probably a low kernel tier, and this is very much in danger of falling into the Ice Cube tier. And the guys, JPR and Daredevil mentioned the Ice Cube tier. I think it's fair to say there's going to be more than a few Ice Cube tier shirts for Puma. So, I mean, the crazy thing is we're starting with one of these slightly better ones. I say slightly because it isn't. There are better ones in the collection. And generally speaking, the home shirts are much more interesting than the away, which is another problem Puma have had before, isn't it? So Switzerland, I mean, again, we'll go low candle, but we're talking very, very low. I do think it looks like barbed wire, guys. I hate to say that, but it has that kind of aesthetic. not really feeling that one at all. So he says Alex at the sat on the bench with wet paint. It does have that kind of, I mean, that's a hilarious angle, isn't it? I think, from the side, I do actually think, again, it's something which all the brands really have kind of, they're doing more interesting things with the shorts. That looks fine. From the back, it does look funny. And to be fair, I praise Adidas. I said I quite liked the look of their shorts, but I would say in this example, it's less well executed compared to Adidas. But that's Switzerland's home. What about their away? And again, there's many more Puma shirts to talk about, so we'll try not to take too long on each of them individually, although you guys know me, I'm never one to be too rushed. We like to take our time here at Phil's Corner, especially when the web pages load incredibly slowly. But I won't. I mean, it could be on my internet as I'm trying to stream and do all this live. I don't know. Anyway, so this is funny, right? In this example, when there's a clash even in the colours, even more unusual. It's not a good look, to be honest. And the shirt itself, there's a subtle pattern which is fine, but it looks very basic. I mean, again, the collars and the cuffs, it looks second rate. It doesn't look like a major manufacturer's work, and the pattern is fine, but I don't think this is anything to write home about. Now, I would actually say this is probably, again, just not in the Ice Cube tier. I think there are worse ones, so for those who are, those sickos excited to see me rank some shirts in the bottom tier, I've got that meme in my head of the guy at the window. But for those of you waiting for some Ice Cube tier shirts, they are definitely coming, don't worry. This one, I would probably rank like it's just above the home, so I mean, I'm hardly praising Puma here, and of course we will slide them down and they may move further down. That's the Switzerland combo, not too great. So let's see what else we get. We come to Serbia. Now again, we're actually starting with some of the better ones, to be honest. If we come to the Serbia away, though not exciting, there is at least a good looking cuff pattern, but it's otherwise plain. So this one, if it wasn't for the cuffs, I think we probably would be in the Ice Cube tier. I mean, the blue there, or the navy and the gold trim, it looks nice, but the template again doesn't look very good with the back of the shorts. This one, I mean, I think it's kind of coin toss almost between the Switzerland and this. or both Switzerland kits. I would probably take this one slightly higher because I do like the cuffs, even though that almost is the only thing really saving this one, that you can't see it on this little thumbnail, but it's really not an exciting collection, guys. I think often it's tricky, right? When you have an international collection, you're releasing a bunch of shirts at once. Naturally, you can't expect even from any brand to have completely every shirt being fully bespoke. That's just not the case with the big brands. But you still want things to, as we say here on the channel, hang your hat on. A narrative, a kind of something which you can say, oh yeah, this actually separates the shirt significantly from what has gone before. Pretty much none of the Puma shirts do that, and it's a real shame because this should, like international collections and what Adidas and Nike did, of course not everything was a winner, but there were definitely examples of either strong development on earlier ideas or current ideas, or some even new ideas like the boxed collar. And I'm just gonna have to switch. Mason, thank you for subscribing. I had to switch scenes there because I realised I'm not actually set on my second screen properly to have the alert there. Thanks for subscribing, Mason. If you are watching this and you're not subscribed, join Mason and subscribe. Shout out to you though for doing that. Thank you, my friend. So that is Serbia. Where are they? Yep, the Puma slide continues, and we will obviously keep monitoring there. That's not where I want to go. You don't need to see ABS. Here we go. What about the home shirt? And here is the beginning of the Ice Cube party. Now, this is poor. This is really, really poor. You could tell me that was a Czech Republic shirt and I'd probably believe you, but there's almost nothing. That's a sorry excuse for a pattern. It looks really, really budget. Even the shirt itself, the material looks bad, but that is honestly embarrassing. It's easily one of the worst shirts I've seen this year, and I think you have to consider the context of this being a major brand and an international home shirt. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not about it being crazy, but at least have things like that cuff pattern. That's something. But we see way better examples all the time of patterns and simple shirts which are elevated through details, through kind of good material innovation. This is without a doubt one of the worst shirts. I think I probably would put it as low as, well, it's as low as it's got this year, and of course we are not done yet, so very, very disappointing. Puma actually have been doing some good stuff this year. I don't think this doesn't completely discredit their reputation, but I would certainly be sweating if I was a Portugal fan. Portugal, I don't know if it's confirmed, but they're heavily rumoured to be going to Puma, and I tell you what, if I was a Portugal fan, I would be nervous right about now seeing some of these new kits. Very, very disappointing. We will continue to consider that as Puma slide down the list. Serbia home shirt, terrible. Now Iceland, somewhat stemming the bleeding. Yeah, Dedo, I hear you saying it. Just don't really know what they're thinking, especially after the World Cup. It's like I said, Puma and Homer need to swap how they approach the logo on the shoulders. Puma don't know the logo of symmetry, but Homer do. Makes it weird as they've got a backwards J. Yeah, that is interesting actually. Yeah, that's funny actually how different brands do take different approaches. Colour wise, this is quite an interesting combo. And I don't mind the colour choices. It's kind of almost like an orange and the greys, but ultimately, the runic kind of crest is fun. I'm not sure it's my favourite crest in football, but certainly it has something about it. And again, the colourway choice for Iceland is quite a fresh idea, but ultimately I don't think this is that that exciting. I probably would put it around kind of where we had the Serbia away. It's that kind of territory. Maybe slightly higher, to be honest, because again, despite the simplicity of it, at least I honestly think they're onto something with the choice of orange as a kind of tertiary colour. Maybe I'm guessing it's like a volcano thing. Maybe that's a bit too kind of on the nose. I don't know, but I actually think that has potential. Like, seeing this, I think, okay, there was an idea here which could have been built on. It is ultimately very, very boring though, and actually, to be fair, I do prefer the Chile one to this. So we'll go here for Iceland away. Not a good day to be a Puma fan. Just skip these, Phil, instead of wasting your time. I feel honour compels me to rank every shirt, although yes, I probably have spent too much time. But honestly, I think, you know, given that some of these kits are going to be one at the Euros, and certainly you know, these are kind of major releases, I do think, well, oh man, look at this. The shirts do not look good from the back with the shorts. Some of these colour choices, I mean, I saw someone joke that this had the vibe of you know, when a window cleaner leaves too much soap on their brush, sponge, whatever they use to clean the windows. Yeah, and it's funny, look at this looks really kind of amateur. The pattern, like the look of the pattern, it really does look like someone's just got, you know, it's lacking that kind of refinement which you'd expect from a top kit and a top brand, and not feeling this one. You know, I think I would prefer the away actually quite a bit over this. I think this one has to go in the ice cube tier. I think this pattern looks quite amateur, and again, the kind of window cleaning kind of joke, whilst it is a joke, also it kind of does leave you with that well, you know, once you kind of see it, it's hard to unsee it. Very disappointing. I mean, we won't go too low, we'll go something like here, but not great, and I, as I say, I certainly prefer the away, which isn't saying too much. Yeah, so good. It's funny you mentioned the volcano thing. I think honestly that the choice of orange was probably the thinking, and it's crazy that they could have done so much more with the theme. I actually do think this as a colorway for like Iceland away shirts, for example, could be a real thing, but it's just not executed at all. Volcanoes, yeah. Isn't it funny? You know, again, we have our volcano tier, and the shirt, which is supposedly inspired by them, does not get anywhere near the Czech Republic home. Now, you know, we looked at the Serbia shirt. Again, for me, it's the way this pattern has been created, and it looks really basic to me. You know, sure, you've got kind of overlaid, it's just the crest here, like, but it's just really amateur. I cannot believe, well, I have to believe it's in front of me, but you know, this is Puma, this is a major brand in world football. What are their designers doing? I'm sorry to kind of, this is such a, you know, it's an armchair critic move really, but I honestly think this looks like they are so much better than this. They have made so much better than this. Get whoever was designing the Palmeiras shirts and get them on the team. You know, there's several Puma shirts which I really, really like this year. So it's not, you know, yeah, I honestly am baffled by how naff this looks. And it's plain on the back as if it wasn't bad enough. But the collar and cuffs, everything about this screams kind of budget to me. This is honestly the kind of standard you'd expect. Well, their shirts in like the Championship and League One have been better over recent years. This is just not good at all. You know, I like it. Maybe it's just above the Serbia home, but that is not really praise at all. Yeah, JPL says Czechs deserve a go kick for once. They do, don't they? They do. They've had it pretty bad, actually, to be fair, as a whole with Puma, I would say. It's elementary, Watson. Says Daredevil. I don't know. I think sometimes, right, a designer or a brand, they kind of, fly a bit too close to the sun. Sometimes they play it far too safe, but this is kind of a worst of both worlds, where there's an attempt was made to make an interesting pattern, but honestly, I just think that looks really, really basic. Like, I don't like this kind of it looks like they've literally just laid it up in Photoshop with different opacities, but it just doesn't produce a very nice kit at the end of it. Maybe if there were some embossed elements, I'd get into it a bit more. Ultimately, very bad. And what about the away shirt? Is it any better? Sexist love the window clear for the Arsenal home, of course. Famously, George Formby is from Reykjavik, probably. The Czech Republic away. Yeah. I honestly, I'm looking at this, and you guys know me. I'm trying to find things to say. That could be any Czech Republic shirt from the away shirt from the past, 6, 8 years, 10 years. The Puma template. I can't remember. This may be the same, if not very similar to Puma shirts that we've seen for several seasons again. Absolutely nothing in the way of details. Nothing in the way of, a subliminal pattern. Nothing on the cuffs or collar. This is easily one of the worst shirts we've seen this year. And what an absolute shocker for the Czech Republic to have two of the worst shirts this year. And again, this is my personal rankings. So take this with a heavy pinch of salt. But look at that, guys. Come on. You don't need me to tell you that this is a bad shirt. And the context only makes it worse, that this is for a major international side that, give me the Puma third shirt style any day of the week over that. It's no competition at the very least, and that one didn't look too bad on pitch. The crest is a different colour. Is that actually the case? Daredevil, am I missing that? Oh, come on. The site is a bit slow today. I hope it's not my internet. Literally anything here would have been an improvement. Is it? It looks the same to me, unless I'm missing your missing what you're seeing there, Daredevil. I mean, come on, surely there's got to be better. We come to Austria now, and it's been, I honestly think it's not about the shirts being boring. There's definitely a temptation, especially in the collector community, of wanting to have shirts that are more and more daring, more and more crazy for the sake of it. Apologies. I don't know. It might be football shirt culture site being slow. I don't know. It's not about it being crazy, but if you're going to do a simple shirt, you need to do things. I mean, it's really not the same colour kit. Gotcha. Oh man. I see what you're saying, Daredevil. Austria away. Now Austria again, with Puma, they started using a bit more kind of this kind of mint colour as a motif for away kits. I mean, it's better than the Czech Republic one, but that is about it. I think, it reminds me a bit of the Iceland one in that, again, I think kind of from a colour perspective, this is not a kind of colourway we often see in international football, so there's definitely potential here to build on that, but the end result, it's really half-baked. I think, and that's being generous. I really do think this is this would be underwhelming from any brand, let alone a brand as big as Puma. And simply put, they are not putting nearly close to their best output for what should be some of their best kits, international kits, and including some of these that are going to be won at the Euros, should be a chance to really establish a brand's kind of identity going forward for the next few years or a couple of years. This looks very dated, very basic, and like the home shirt, I almost thought that was like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing there. Like, is that just me? Am I just seeing that like a kind of badly drawn? The plain backs are an absolutely killer. Obviously, that's not uncommon in the international kits. That really needs to be embossed or like a jacquard for it to stand out. I think for me, it's fine, but it's like, again, the template is not an attractive one. It looks very dated. This is one of the slightly better ones of the collection, but you guys I probably sound like a broken record at this point. I think I would probably put this one in the middle of the counter tier. I'm not really sure what the pattern is representing, but yeah, it's fine. It's definitely intrigued me enough to want to rank it. Well, I say middle, kind of. It's still something like here for me. Largely disappointing. We've not actually moved Puma down, but we had to move them down after today. Not a good day at the office for them, and I think we will end it there because that's a nice ending point. We do have more to talk about, but I will look at doing them either next week, or if we don't get to them, might have to do them off stream. Sega said the highest place to give these Puma shirts is they're not offensively bad except to people's wallets. Indeed, if I hadn't decided if you've done for his football after the Euros collection, after the Euros, this collection could just convince him. Indeed, JPR. Wow. So highlights from today and lowlights for today. Puma, I mean, the less said about their shirts, the better, really. A really disappointing collection. Several in the Ice Cube and lower candle tier, but it was a good day. Malaga started the day off with one of my favourite shirts of the year, without a doubt. Other big wins from today, we had Selangor, we had Vancouver as well, doing some good work. Palmeiras again. On a more positive note for Puma, really like their special edition shirt there. So some good stuff there as a whole. Let me make a note. We went down to, what was the last one we reviewed? The Fortuna Düsseldorf. So again, I'm just making this note just for my reference because I still have quite a few to backdate. So 28th of March. So I'm just making a note there. But there we go. That was the Hot Wall. I'll be here for another 5 minutes or so we can chat. Any questions? If not, we can sign off. But straight, yeah. Again, I mean, concur with your thoughts here, guys. Daredevil saying those Puma kits better not be the same price as the other ones. Straight to a discount rack. The crazy thing is, they probably will be. Well, I'm assuming they'll be fully priced at the moment, but absolutely, you'd expect all of them. All of them, to be heavily discounted because they are so underwhelming. They're not exciting for collectors. They're not exciting for fans. This is great. I've been loving some of these analogies. Sega says Austria at home looks like someone's drawn some sort of Petra type case from memory. Yeah. I still see Ninja Turtles, badly drawn Ninja Turtles, but that is quite tenuous, admittedly. Dennis says, what do you think of the Wi-Fi around Madrid? It's finally been debuted. Yeah, I mean, I think they sort of missed a trick by releasing the collection so soon after the last Y3 collection. The original had so much about it. The re-release was much less exciting, but I think it feels desperate to be basically doubling down so soon on that. So not excited by the kits particularly. But in isolation, I think they're solid. But I think given the context of, again, the most recent Y3 collection, and of course, I think after the original collection, you could probably never match that in terms of its impact, given that was at a time when collaborations were much, much less common. So that the original collection is always going to have something about it, whereas the new one, and it's kind of this, I might say it's the second wave of kind of, recent modern Y3 kits. Yeah, not great. Dale says, are you any interest in footy boots? Like the new Predators? I honestly don't pay much attention. I used to, when I was working at footy.com all those years ago, I did spend a lot more time looking at boots, and I even wrote about boots and basically built up my knowledge about boots quite a lot in the space of a few years. I rarely pay attention, but I do think it's very interesting. The way that boots are released, I think actually is possibly a model which we may see for kits. So for example, boots will have kind of packs during the year, and they tend to hit certain kind of seasonal touch points. But I think it's interesting that you see there's always like a blackout range, there's always a more colourful range, and for better or for worse, I think in the same way that brands release kind of packs of boots, I think having a brand release kind of packs of kits, I think there's definitely some potential for them to do that sort of thing. Given how many kits we're seeing anyway, I don't think it's a major shift, is it? JBS, let's talk about your original kit reviews. Yeah, that is, well, again, I mentioned footy.com. I used to enjoy doing that with my man Stephen, or Esteemed Company. I don't know if he's still going by that name, but yeah, one of the bigger city YouTubers. But really enjoyed working with him and learned a lot from him. Actually, he was a really great person to work with. Yeah, lots of good memories of footy. If that's what you're referring to, JPR. If you're not, then anyway, that's a few anecdotes there about my time. I'm just saying those Puma jerseys look like candidates for showing up next year at a Burlington store. $15 to $20. They do. Yep, I'd say the same. Like with TK Maxx here, that's exactly what all of them look like. And even the better ones are ultimately just not that exciting. Yeah, I really, if I was kind of on it with my channel, I could easily do a kind of clickbait video about how shocking the Puma kits are with my face in the thumbnail, etc. One day I may kind of sell out for that, but honestly I'd rather put my energy into other things. You guys get to see it live here on the channel anyway. Yeah, JPR, the kit reviews did together. Yeah, man, that was good. Again, learned a lot, enjoyed that. I think the content was really strong, and there was a lot of stuff which people just simply weren't doing. I really missed doing the top 100 series history of footy. I think the amount of effort that went into that. I was so happy that got picked up by various news outlets at one point, and clubs, etc. I think that was again, those were good days on Twitter. We used to have a discount kit tracker. I was all sorts of stuff. I do kind of miss that in a way. Yeah, many of you will remember those times. Again, we're talking kind of 2018-ish. Yes, the June concert. So that is very much on my list. I am going to do that because I still am enjoying, well, I just finished June Messiah, which is the second book. Well, I listened to it on Audible, but that counts, doesn't it? That was much shorter than June, the first book. But yeah, I'm fully into the world now. The more I think about it, the more I think actually the film is probably one of my favourite films of all time. I'm not like a massive film buff, but yeah. So anyway, I will be doing these concepts because I just want to do some fun concepts. I have been working on a really fun design with Icarus, which I will share very soon. And I also have been working on a Pont here, away shirt to complement the home that I designed last year. So there's been some fun design projects which I've been sharing a lot more in the Discord. Sorry, not Discord. I keep calling it Discord. In the Slack group. So this is the Puma shirts, maybe a result of reaction to those. again, I can't see on my screen here. Most third shirts decided to go the other way and play it incredibly safe. Honestly, that would probably explain it, but I do think that if they wanted to kick back or kind of react to the reactions to, or the response to the third shirts, there's so many better ways to do it. I think it's not about them being simple. It's actually about, they could have gone down the kind of retro route, for example, which is easy and obvious, but ultimately it would probably produce better kits. When Puma, in what was kind of the brand's modern heyday of the Italy Renaissance kits, if they'd have gone down that route with the intricate patterns, everyone loved that. It would maybe be a bit too soon to go down that route, but again, it's not a question of Puma being able to do it. They can do it. This is honestly just, I think it probably is the worst collection of international kits we've seen from major brands since 2016, since some of those Euro 2016 kits. I think I could say that. Maybe I'm forgetting a collection, but and obviously Puma away shirts have been bad multiple times. Yes, the Union Berlin kits, that was funny with the Paramount Plus sponsorship. They're mimicking it into many ways. So we've got Star Trek, the Star Trek logo for sponsors, which is something I kind of semi predicted. It was easy to predict, really, but I said that last year about Inter probably doing Star Trek. I didn't see Paw Patrol coming for the kids kits. That was quite funny, but we did. Yeah, that's pretty fun. One of those nice little things in shirts. I must say, guys, and I said this on Tuesday, I'm enjoying these little kind of Q&A debriefs that we're doing at the end of the streams. So thank you for sticking around, asking questions, and as you can see, as you know me, I enjoy just chatting about shirts, whatever it is, whoever it is. So thank you. I quite enjoy this. It's kind of become more of a thing now. Just 5-10 minutes. I mean, it's not like it's new. We've been doing this before. But I enjoy that, and I think I think the streams have been really active. I appreciate that. I think this. I want to keep trying to hit at least one stream, if not 2 streams a week. And once I get, this week's been busy, or last month really has been busy with a few projects, but hopefully we can get back to some more regular, full kind of videos. They're certainly coming. There is a backlog to work through, but yeah. Anyway, Dedos says, let me know when you can do an NFL stream. I'd love to. I really would love to, but I don't think it would necessarily work on the channel. Having said that, if enough of you guys want to do something, we could look at perhaps, for example, like just a short stream would be quite fun. And again, this is, what time would it be for us here? It's going to be like midnight, isn't it? But it would be quite fun to do something. Because honestly, I do genuinely consume a lot of NFL content. The Texans signing Diggs or trading for Diggs hurts as a Jags fan. Also, in my dynasty league, my team is not completely stacked, but I do have Josh Allen as my quarterback, which is great in a Superflex 2 quarterback league, dynasty league. So losing Diggs probably doesn't help there. Yeah, that's funny, isn't it, JPR, talking about the Bears? One of my good friends, who's a massive NFL fan, he is a Bears fan. He was a bit of a Justin Fields advocate, or just kind of was very keen for sort of a bit of patience there. But yeah, who knows what Caleb Williams will do? But I would be surprised if he pulled an Eli. But you never know. The rumours are out there. Yeah, the name did help, of course, like you say, Daredevil. We may do that, guys. I mean, ultimately, I'm going to be staying up to watch the draft, so I might just jump on stream, maybe just for a little bit. Kind of UK. Maybe that's how I could frame it to get a few views. A kind of UK NFL fan perspective. That could be fun, to be fair. And there'll be something. I can't imagine there's many. There will be some, but UK-based people doing streams. So maybe that'll be quite funny. Yeah, and hey, if even just a few of us are there and we're chatting, it could be quite fun again. I won't guarantee that. I'll see how things work out. It's a Thursday night, isn't it? So yeah, maybe we change the Thursday afternoon stream to that. Who knows? Anyway, I'll sign off now, but thank you guys so much. It's been fun, as always. Great to chat to you about some new kits. Yeah, and that's it. It's interesting, the Steelers situation now over Ross and Fields. I could see a redemption arc for Fields. Yeah, and honestly, the NFL is growing massively. Like, I've been into it for a long, long time, but it's really cool that now actually people aren't just into it; they're really, knowledgeable, and it's actually quite impressive. Like, genuinely, when an NFL team comes to the UK, which is going to be kind of crazy, but it's not just going to be a load of fans are really clued up. There's people like me who've been watching it for 20 years, 15 years, 15 plus years. Anyway, thank you guys. You see, I could talk about it for a long time, but I will say goodbye. Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Andreas. Daredevil JPR, anyone else who's still watching. Don't forget to subscribe when you're away if you are new, and to leave a like if you enjoyed today. And there's a Patreon, which you can check out if you'd like to. Thank you once again. See you very soon for the next one. Probably Tuesday, all being well, for eBay, which will be good. But take care of yourselves, guys. See you very soon.